Unfortunately, the red-clothed middle-aged man seemed as if he'd utterly not heard Jia Hong and Long Wei as he spoke indifferently. "Ling Tian, do you want me to cripple his cultivation before you kill him yourself, or do you want me to end him directly?" The red-clothed middle-aged man was precisely Feng Wudao, the eldest master of the Darkhan dynasty's Feng clan and the #1 expert in the Feng clan that stood supreme above the two ancestors of the clan. Feng Wudao's tone was calm, and it was as if he was speaking of a trivial matter. Jia Hong's expression went completely pale when he heard Feng Wudao, whereas, the pupils of Long Wei and the others constricted instantly as well. Exactly who is this red-clothed middle-aged man? He actually seems as if he utterly doesn't take our demonic Lotus Blade sect's 7th level void interpretation stage Supreme Elder seriously. He wasn't present when the 7-star sword sect was annihilated that day. "Uncle Feng, I'll trouble you with it." Duan Lingtian glanced indifferently at Jia Hong before speaking slowly. "MMM." Even though Duan Lingtian didn't provide a direct choice, but his words had obviously made a choice indirectly, and Feng Wudao had discerned the meaning within. Jia Hong's expression went ghastly pale when he saw Feng Wudao nodding, and he instantly stood up from the lotus seat. Bang! With a raise of his leg, Jia Hong's origin energy skyrocketed as his fire concept erupted out like a shadow behind it, and it caused his origin energy to seem as if it had transformed into a ball of flames that fiercely crashed onto the lotus seed. Instantly, the lotus seed condensed into form from origin energy and fire concept instantly shattered and transformed into nothingness. Swoosh! At the same time, Jia Hong had already relied on the force of this impact to shoot towards the distance like a bolt of lightning, and he obviously wanted to flee. The scene before them only occurred in the blink of an eye, and everyone from the demonic Lotus Blade sect, including the sect leader Long Wei, didn't even have the time to react. Swish! A sword howl that appeared for a brief moment entered clearly into the ears of the group of martial artists at the Void initiation stage or above and possessed shocking hearing ability, whereas, martial artists below the Void initiation stage seemed to have heard nothing, and then they saw the distant figure stop for a moment before splitting into two. Jia Hong, who had fled, was split into two from up to down, and his severed corpse crashed onto the ground while accompanied by dazzling and resplendent blood that covered the sky. Silence. No matter if it was in the sky or on the ground, the entire ground was in deathly silence. Ancestor. Supreme Elder. Everyone from the demonic Lotus Blade sect was dumbstruck in unison as they looked at the severed corpse on the distant ground, and their faces were filled with disbelief. On one hand, they were in disbelief that their ancestor would run away from battle and abandon them for the sake of living, and on the other hand, they were in disbelief that the Supreme Elder, who seemed high, mighty, and matchless in their eyes, would be killed so easily. But these numerous scenes that occurred before their eyes charged at their tensed nerves at every moment, and it told them that all of this was real. "I'll leave the rest to you." Feng Wu Dao nodded to Duan Ling Tian before vanishing on the spot, and when he appeared once more, he'd already returned to Elder Kong and Feng Tianwu's side. From the beginning until the end, Feng Wu Dao's expression remained unmoving like the water within an ancient well, and he seemed as if killing a 7th level void interpretation stage expert was nothing to him. "Okay." Duan Ling Tian nodded, and then he revealed a frenzied smile as he pounced towards all the demonic Lotus Blade sect higher UPS led by Long Wei like a tiger that pounced into a pack of wolves. Sword drawing arts. A violet-colored sword light that flashed briefly in the sky easily swiped past Shuirui's throat, and the sect leader of the formed Snow Moon sect had died just like this at Duan Ling Tian's hands. Duan Ling Tian held his sword as she stood in the sky, and drops of blood dripped ceaselessly from atop his sword as he thought in his heart. The collection has just begun. Shuirui's death was like the wick of a candle, and it instantly jolted Long Wei and the others awake. "Since it's impossible to flee, then we'll join forces and kill him." Long Wei glanced fearfully at Feng Wu Dao, who stood in the distance before shouting out explosively to call over all the higher UPS of the demonic Lotus Blade sect. Whoosh! But right when they were intending to make a move against Duan Ling Tian, they unintentionally noticed the over 30 ancient horned dragon silhouettes that had appeared in the sky above Duan Ling Tian, and it caused them to be flabbergasted. The strongest person amongst them only possessed the strength of over 10 ancient horned dragons when exerting his full might, and it was to the extent that not a single person possessed the strength of 20 ancient horned dragons. He isn't at the 7th level of the Void initiation stage, he's at the 9th. This demonic Lotus Blade sect's elder's gaze had always been on Duan Ling Tian, and he'd clearly witnessed the scene of the numerous ancient horned dragon silhouettes condensing into form one by one in the sky above Duan Ling Tian. 9th level of the Void initiation stage. A single sentence from this elder caused all the higher UPS including Long Wei to go pale, and all of them stopped moving, as they didn't dare take a step forward. If Duan Ling Tian was only at the 7th level of the Void initiation stage, they might have been capable of dealing with him after joining forces. But a 9th level Void initiation stage martial artist wasn't someone they could go against. Duan Ling Tian, I'm willing to join your 7-star sword sect and give both my life and loyalty to the 7-star sword sect. Suddenly, a guardian elder stood out and spoke to Duan Ling Tian with panic. Instantly, the expression of many demonic Lotus Blade sect higher UPS including Long Wei went livid, and they glared angrily at the guardian elder. Swish! A sword light that appeared briefly in the sky easily penetrated the throat of this guardian elder. When the guardian elder held tightly onto his throat, a violet-colored figure had appeared before him like a shadow, and it was precisely Duan Ling Tian. Why? The guardian elder looked at Duan Ling Tian with a puzzled and dazed expression, and his eyes were filled with unwillingness. As far as he was concerned, he'd already submitted and was willing to join the Seven-Star Sword sect. Logically speaking, Duan Ling Tian ought to not kill him and welcome him into the Seven-Star Sword sect instead. He was convinced that the current Seven-Star Sword sect surely required experts to hold down the fort, and it was precisely because of this that when facing life and death, he chose to endure a bad name and join the Seven-Star Sword sect. But unexpectedly, Duan Ling Tian seemed to be utterly disdainful towards allowing him to join the Seven-Star Sword sect and had directly killed him. I won't allow anyone whose hands are tainted with the disciples of my Seven-Star Sword sect to live in this world. Duan Ling Tian spoke indifferently. As soon as he finished speaking, Duan Ling Tian flashed out. Whirlwind. He vanished on the spot, and when he appeared once again, he was already amidst the demonic Lotus Blade sect higher UPS, and every single sword strike that flashed out took the life of a demonic Lotus Blade sect higher up. Since only death awaits us no matter what we do, then let's fight with our lives. Kill. The group of demonic Lotus Blade sect higher UPS and disciples that had participated in the annihilation of the Seven-Star Sword sect all those years ago charged towards Duan Ling Tian as if they'd gone mad. The fate of resisting was death, yet the fate of not resisting was death as well. So they chose to resist. But they didn't have the slightest ability to strike back when facing Duan Ling Tian, and all of them died one by one beneath Duan Ling Tian's sword. In next to no time, Duan Ling Tian was numbed by the slaughter. Sect leader, are you watching? I'm making the demonic Lotus Blade sect, Origin Convergence sect, and Snow Moon sect repay 100-fold for what they owed us. The figure of the former Seven-Star Sword sect's leader, Ling Hujinhong, flashed within Duan Ling Tian's mind. Even though he didn't have a long relationship with Ling Hujinhong, the numerous ways Ling Hujinhong supported and thought highly of him caused Duan Ling Tian to be moved. As the saying goes, a woman will doll herself up for the man she loves, just like a gentleman will die for the one that recognized his worth. Ling Hujinhong was a person that recognized his worth. Swish. A violet-colored sword light that flashed briefly in the sky had penetrated Long Wei's chest easily, and it came out from the other side, causing instantaneous death. As soon as Long Wei died, many people were completely devoid of battle intent, and they fled in unison. Whoosh! Whoosh! Meanwhile, the Rock and Qin Xiang joined the fray, and they slaughtered all the higher UPS of disciples of the demonic Lotus Blade sect that were fleeing for their lives and devoid of battle intent. Under the circumstances that Duan Lingtian was suppressing all the 6th level Void Initiation stage martial artists of the demonic Lotus Blade sect, the two of them slaughtered their way unopposed in the crowd of demonic Lotus Blade sect members. Peak Master Zhen Fan, if you're conscious in the heavens, then watch as I take revenge for you. The sword in Duan Lingtian's hand struck out to kill a 6th level Void Initiation stage elder of the demonic Lotus Blade sect. Elder Bai, your little phase master, yet I wasn't able to protect you properly. I really don't know how to tell little Fei when I see her in the future. A beautiful woman's figure appeared in Duan Lingtian's mind as he revealed a wisp of sorrow, and the sword in his hand killed another 6th level Void Initiation stage guardian elder of the demonic Lotus Blade sect. Senior Sister Zhou Cheng. All of you as well. Numerous familiar figures flashed within Duan Lingtian's mind. In the past, all of these people were alive and standing before him, yet they died 5 years ago at the hands of these people before his eyes. Swish. 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 At this moment, Duan Lingtian seemed to have transformed into a bloodthirsty Azura, and there was nothing but slaughter in his world. It wasn't long before all the demonic Lotus Blade sect higher UPS at the 4th level of the Void Initiation stage or above had fallen. Duan Lingtian didn't stop because of this, and the sword in his hand pointed towards the other higher UPS and disciples of the demonic Lotus Blade sect as he flashed out to slaughter them mercilessly. Shrill cries rose and fell without end. No! Spare me! Spare me! Duan Lingtian, I'm willing to be your slave, just spare me. Spare me. Everywhere Duan Lingtian passed, all the higher UPS and disciples of the demonic Lotus Blade sect were without the slightest intent to battle and fled in all directions, and they didn't forget to beg mournfully with mercy as they fled. But Duan Lingtian disregarded them. A debt of blood must be paid with blood. Unknowingly, the violet-clothed Duan Lingtian had been completely tainted by blood, causing him to seem as if he'd become a person made of blood. Of course, there wasn't a single drop of his blood amongst this blood. Brother Duan's intent to slaughter is too heavy. Elder Kong frowned as he looked at Duan Lingtian's figure that was covered in blood from afar. It isn't good if this goes on. It's very likely that he'll experience G deviation. He needs to vent now. It's useless even if we stop him. We can only hope that he can keep his heart firm. Feng Wu Dao sighed. Big brother Duan, I'll help you. A wisp of worry appeared on Feng Tianwu's peerlessly beautiful face when she heard the conversation between Elder Kong and Feng Wudao, and then she flashed out to go help Duan Ling Tian kill. For his sake, she was willing to share the sins of slaughter without the slightest regret.